What's up, everybody? It's Let's Get Paranormal. I'm Joey, and today I have a special guest. I got Nikki over here with me.
Hello, hello. Think that I had done more of these. I have. I don't know why. Anyway,
Yeah, I haven't done too many of these Zoom calls. I think I've only done like one, I think, so still kind of new to me. Um,
yeah, yeah.
all right. Well, for everybody that's watching the show, you've seen Nikki before. She was actually on, we did an interview with her, and then we did like a little walkthrough on our last Pitch Dark Paranormal show. So you guys probably recognize her from there.
Right away, I could see activity, I could feel it, I could hear it, I could smell it. And I was like, oh, this is going to be interesting.
And
Yeah.
she is a psychic.
I am. I am a psychic medium, so that's so much fun right now.
But yeah, that was the first time we've ever worked with anybody in that kind of like field and stuff like that. So it was like kind of, we were nervous at the same time, and then kind of like anxious and like kind of excited because it's something we've never experienced before.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
New stuff.
Yeah.
I get it. Um, it's I've never done anything like that before.
Oh, really?
Like so recorded. So I was a little nervous and anxious too. So I guess that works out.
That's cool. Yeah. I forgot what I was gonna say. But yeah, like, because we've tried working with people before, but we never have. But have you, like, when you work with someone new, like, is always like that nervousness when they meet you?
Yeah.
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 Like, what's like the first questions they always ask you? Like,
Um, Gee, it really depends. Anytime I'm working with someone new, it depends on the situation, really.
yeah.
Um, when it comes to, so like something that I really love to do is work with psychic kids.
Oh, okay.
Usually it's meeting their parents first. So when I meet with them, there's a lot of, is my kid crazy?
Oh, okay. I understand.
Um, if I do meet with, so like other, other psychics or people who have never been to a psychic before, um, it's other psychics. It depends
Yeah.
on what's going on. Um, there can be a little ego that plays into it sometimes.
Like almost like they already know more than you or something. A little bit.
Yeah, or they know that they don't know more than me.
Oh, okay. All right.
And so then it's like this, uh, yeah, sometimes there's a curiosity that happens
Yeah.
among people with spiritual gifts, psychic abilities that when you know and you notice someone else who has abilities or gifts,
Yeah.
sometimes it can be kind of like the comic books
Oh, okay.
where there's a little bit of a, ooh, you've got that. Oh,
Okay. Yeah. I understand.
I have my mom and my sister both have telekinetic abilities.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm always like, ooh, that's so cool, right? And they're like, no. Like my mom suppresses hers,
Oh, okay.
her gifts a lot, because they scare her.
Mm.
So yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes other psychics or energy readers will, like one of my really good friends and mentees, I was teaching him. He was an energy worker and body worker, so he did massage.
Mm.
And I was getting a massage and helping him figure out what his gifts and abilities were, because his third eye was through his hands. He passed away last year.
Oh, okay.
So his third eye was through his hands. So when he was working with you, he was really healing and seeing and feeling and processing everything through his hands.
I didn't know that was a thing. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess we're just going to get into all of this right away. Huh?
Yeah, that's awesome. That's what I like about these like long format kind of stuff, because you can really get into stuff.
Yeah. But he had said, you know, he's like, I always see your aura and it's huge.
Yeah.
He's like, so thank you for letting me in, because your aura is very intimidating to people. And I was like, what do you mean? I never even noticed it. But apparently it's pretty large sometimes and fills up a space.
Yeah.
And he was like, people don't know how to enter that. And I'm like, oh, that's funny.
That's funny. When I first met you, I had that same feeling.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like almost like I was a little intimidated. Like when you came, like I almost felt before you even came in the room, I kind of knew you were here. And then I was like kind of nervous asking the questions.
Oh.
Yeah.
See, I'm not that bad.
After I got to know you, yeah, because like yeah, you have like this thing about you, like almost like you can tell you're here before you even enter the room, and then, but then after I get to know you like that, it's kind of like a welcoming aura if you don't know it right away, you know.
Yeah. At first, okay, so that's probably a good thing, I guess.
Yeah.
It's definitely, it's protective, but yeah. So like when I go to psychic fairs and stuff, and there are psychics who do things like remote viewing or peeking or pushing. And so something that they encounter when they try to do that is a giant pink bunny. And if they keep trying to push, then I project out like a giant pink Donnie Darko looking bunny.
Oh, okay. That's kind of scary.
That's kind of scary, but it's like you're getting warned before you push too far, and it turns into. But it's always interesting because, you know, I love seeing people's gifts and abilities. I love helping them embrace them. I love helping them connect with like the right teachers if they're not fully engaged, or even just understanding, oh, this is your ability. You don't have to be afraid of it. Here's how you can kind of control it, or here's how it's meant to be worked, or things like that. So yeah, it's always interesting when I meet one that's like, oh, you have something better than me, or you have something, and I'm like, it's not a better than thing.
Oh, like a competition almost.
Yeah, I'm like, it's not really.
Yeah.
Like, I have a friend who is an amazing psychic channel, and she has mediumship abilities, but she doesn't utilize them a lot.
Oh, okay.
And we're getting ready to go to the true crime convention that's happening.
Oh.
We're going to be working there, and she was, you know, she expressed to me, hey, I don't want to mess with your gifts. Here's how I'm going to approach things, you know. And I'm like, it's so funny because when I'm around her, I'm like, I love her gifts and abilities. And I sit there and I'm like, she's definitely an upgrade. Like, she's a level up for me. I don't know. And she was thinking, so it's just funny to me when those things kind of happen.
That's funny.
But yeah, I'm a psychic medium.
That's where the questions started. But,
I'm like, long story short, I'm a psychic medium.
All right, well, let's back it up a little bit. So have you known about your ability since you were a child, I'm guessing, right?
Yeah. So I started with hands-on healing at infancy.
Okay.
My family figured out that I could take away their pain.
Oh, wow.
And then my first psychic event that anyone like tracked. I mean, I was seeing and hearing and doing things, I'm a twin. My twin didn't survive.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, and then I had an older brother that didn't survive the pregnancy. And they were my imaginary playmates when I was little.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
So I've always, my imaginary playmates, and that happens for a lot of kids. Actually, it's not their imagination with their gifts. If your imaginary playmate never goes away,
Yeah.
and that's your gift. That's part of your ability. You're probably a medium. So yeah, I've known since I was little. The first time that anyone really tracked or could say that I was about 2.5.
That's pretty young. Yeah.
My mom was in a car accident in Tijeras Canyon. She was hanging upside down in a Jeep. And I was at my grandma's house. And my mom had let the sheriff's department know, hey, somehow you guys need to let my mom know. I mean, this was back in the 80s, like 1980.
No.
You need to let my mom know. You need to go to her house because my daughter's there. We're on our way back. Like, they're going to be expecting us any minute, and we're not.
Yeah.
I was playing in the living room, and it's so crazy because my grandma's with me right now, and every time I tell this story, it's like going back and time walking it.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I'm playing in the living room, and my grandma goes to the kitchen to answer the phone. And when she comes back, she was big on, if you're ever going to talk to a child, you get down to their level. You don't make them get up to yours. So she got down on the floor and she started to tell me, do you know who called? And I told her, I looked up at her and I said, don't worry, Grandma, Mommy's fine. She's hanging upside down, but they're getting ready to cut her down.
That's nuts.
Like, I could see everything that was happening.
Wow.
And my grandma's like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Luckily for me, I had grandmothers who had their own abilities and had other family members. So even though I was growing faster than they could keep up with, it wasn't weird.
Yeah, because I think most people that never experience or have family members like that, they'll probably react a different way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have, so my parents, my biological parents have been divorced since before I was born. And so I've had a number of step families and all kinds of different families with different religious beliefs, different faiths. And so growing up, I really did get to experience all of these different spaces. And I learned really fast where I needed to hide.
Yeah, I bet.
And where I didn't, and then there was about a decade of my life where I was like, I don't want these gifts. I don't want these abilities. They're weird. When you're a little kid at school and you tell your friend, hey, you can't sit there because my great grandma's in that swing. And she'll push you off. And then they sit there and they start swinging and they get pushed off. Then you're weird.
Oh, yeah. Especially with other kids that don't understand, Yeah, because they don't understand that kind of stuff, that early in age. That's got to be rough. That's got to be pretty rough.
Yeah. And it was loud at school a lot of times because, every kid at least has one person in their family that's deceased somewhere.
Yeah.
Everybody has at least one guide, something around them that's watching them.
Yeah, especially when they're a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
that's pretty. Yeah, because like even me, because I thought I was like an odd person out, but even having like I can't even imagine having that as like an ability like that and feeling more like an outcast, I guess. That's got to be rough as a kid. And then you're seeing and feeling things that no one else can see or.
oh yeah, like I would. There was a kid in school who had an entity attached to them. And I could see the entity, they could see me. And the entity used to attack me in class.
Wow.
And then, like, if we were in the bathroom, it would attack me. So I'd come back with scratch marks and people would think I was doing it to myself.
Oh, man.
And I'm like, I'm sitting at my desk doing spelling or whatever, I'm like 8, 9 years old.
Man.
I'm not doing it to myself.
Oh God, is that scary? I bet.
It was scary. What was scary is that I had older stepsisters, and one of them, her thing was she loved horror.
Oh.
She loved anything that scared her. So I'm watching like The Exorcist and things like that when I'm like really little. And I remember when I started getting scratched at school, thinking the best way I could describe it to people was I had seen Freddy Krueger the week before, and so this was like the way that I described it.
Okay.
And of course, then that's a movie character. That's your overactive imagination. That's blah, 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 blah. You're just playing something out that you saw on TV. And it's like, no, this thing that's attached to this kid is scary.
No.
And then it happened. It attacked another kid at a slumber party.
That's nuts. What happened with that?
It was like, then they blamed me.
Of course.
Then I wasn't, then it was like, I think the parents told my friend, you shouldn't invite her anymore, because then it got around to other parents. And I was already in trouble with the parent groups because I had a group of friends that, like, I don't think people realize churches in the city, in Albuquerque especially, are kind of like schools.
Yeah.
And they almost connect with the school districts or the way the school system is laid out.
Okay.
So if you have like a cluster of schools that feeds into a middle school, that feeds into a high school, those various congregations within those neighborhoods are connected.
Oh, okay.
So
it's like a game.
So these kids all went to the same church.
Yeah.
And some of them had this thing where part of the church that they went to, their thing was, oh, you should have a slumber party. They encouraged it so that then you could bring in the kids that weren't going to church in the Sunday school.
Like recruiting, kind of.
Mm-hmm. So I got tired of going to Sunday school after a slumber party. Like my slumber parties, everyone loved my slumber parties because we didn't go to church.
Oh, okay.
We didn't have arts and crafts. Like my parents always had something cool for us to do, whether it was putt-putt or ice skating or roller skating, something. And my mom was big on letting us sleep in or whatever we wanted to do, stay up all night, the whole thing.
Yeah, it wasn't like as strict as probably like their households.
Yeah, it wasn't as strict. So everybody loved coming to my slumber parties. I didn't always like going to everybody else's.
No.
Because either there was weird stuff in their house. The stricter the house was and the more religious the house was, the weirder the things were in their house.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's strange because a lot of religious people think like, oh, we have all these objects, like we keep out everything, you know? Well, I guess not.
No, they had the weirdest stuff in there that I was like, and it would get scary. Well, so I didn't sleep. So then when we would have to get up the next day and go to church,
How tired.
I really wasn't feeling going to church either.
Yeah.
And if I told them, so I thought at first, if I told them I was Catholic, because I am baptized Catholic, on one side of my family are very Catholic, but they're also old school. So there's some things there. So I always thought, okay, if I tell them I'm Catholic, then they'll leave me alone.
Yeah.
Oh, no. This particular minister, every time I saw him, went in even harder. So one time I asked him the question. I said, well, I don't understand. He was preaching about something. And I said, I don't understand. He was saying that God was perfect. And I said, that's impossible. I was like 9
Yeah.
years old. And I said, that's impossible. After years of listening to this guy every month, because somebody's birthday was always, there was always one once a month. I was like, that can't be possible. And he was like, well, of course he is. And I said, then how are we all supposed to be created in his image?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Because we're not perfect. And you just told us that we're not perfect. Perfection can't create imperfection. And after that, I was never asked to go to church again.
They're like, I can't brainwash this little girl.
Nope.
So we give up.
But yeah, so I've known my whole life. There was just points where, I was like, I would go to my mom's mom and tell her, because she was very much, you have this gift, you have this ability, you're supposed to do this with it. She channeled astrology.
Okay.
So she was always fascinated with my abilities. I wasn't necessarily fascinated with hers because I was like, it's astrology. People think that's weird too. But at least they can kind of understand that people can't see it or experience what I'm experiencing, so they don't know.
No.
So then I'm just crazy.
I don't think you're crazy, but
I would just sit there and be like, so this is not a gift. This is a curse. What you have might be a gift, but what I have is a curse. So if you would like it, I am happy to give it to. And I had family members who didn't have my abilities or gifts that were jealous of me. And so I would sit there and I'd be like, tell me how to give it to you. I will.
Yeah.
You can have it.
Yeah. Yeah, because some people, I think they think of like, oh, that'd be awesome, but it's like, I don't think so. Especially when you're younger and you don't understand it. Or even when you're older and you don't understand it.
Like, my sister that has telekinesis. So something that happens is hers tends to show up more. She has other abilities, but that one in particular, when it shows up, it's usually when she's angry.
Oh, okay.
So, when stuff starts kind of flying off of shelves or whatever, and it's not like the movies, like all of a sudden one thing will fly off, We went to the grocery store one time and she was really upset about something. I think, she had seen somebody hurting an animal earlier that day.
Yeah.
And that's her, like, she cannot. I can't either, but she actually got out of her vehicle and chased these teenagers that were trying to kill this animal.
So that really agitated her.
So that really, by the time she got to me and we were going grocery shopping, we're walking through the grocery and stuff's just falling off the shelf.
That's nuts.
As she's talking about it, more things are starting. And I'm like, okay, we need to step back a minute. Let's step back.
Yeah.
If you can imagine being in high school, being a teenager, being a kid and being provoked.
Oh, yeah.
She had started martial arts training really young, so that helped her kind of control a bit more. But yeah, if stuff happened, and you didn't have anyone to guide you, or you weren't 100% sure, but yet things would repeatedly happen, it can freak you out for sure.
Yeah. How like how, when, I don't know how to word this, like how young was she when she realized that, or did she realize that later on that she could do that?
I think it wasn't until she was a teenager and she realized, and it took a very violent and horrible event to really make that connect for her, that, oh, I can do this. But then it's like, oh, I can do this. Some things that happen with telekinesis, people always think, oh, it's you just move stuff with your mind. Well, no, sometimes what happens is you can cause harm to somebody else, physical harm. You can create headaches, you can create nosebleeds, you can create all of these other things that happen. So yeah, it can get pretty scary. I'm actually glad I don't have that ability. As much as there have been times in my life where I'm like, and then I think about it, I'm like, no, I have enough. I got enough. And there's always something new, like evolving or changing.
Yeah. So you were saying, I know when we were doing the interview, that you said that your grandparents were always with you. And they're like your guides, I think you said.
Yeah, they're so my grandparents are, I have guides. There's your spiritual guides, your astral guides or cosmic guides. There's your ancestral guides and protectors. There's your angel team. Then there's just kind of your deceased loved ones that are around you. My grandparents are always with me, though. Especially when I'm working, they're always like my grandma. My grandma loves to do these podcasts. She thinks every time I do a podcast interview, and it's always different. Like I've done some as an author and just talking about being an author and different kind of more activism, societal issues. And still my grandma's there. So sometimes I have to I have to block out, because she would love to just chat and tell you all the things and do all the things. And that's why I get off track. Because she thinks she's helping and she's not.
I think that's like every grandma. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny. Oh, man. So there's all kinds of questions I got for you, but is there like, when you do readings, is there sometimes like, there's like things that come to you that you almost don't want to tell them? Has that ever happened?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe.
There was a reading once that I was doing, and it wasn't so kind of one of the hard and fast rules that someone who is responsible with their gifts adheres to is, we're not going to tell you when you die. We're not going to tell you that you're dying. We're not going to tell you, like, And anytime that something comes up where somebody has like an illness or something that pops up, I always ask my guides. I ask for clarity. I ask for give me the message another way.
Okay.
Because I'm personally, that to me messes with people's free will.
Yeah, I could see that.
Once, it's kind of like you think it'd be really cool to know that date, but then are you really going to live your life differently? Or are you going to try and beat the clock? Or are you going to try and,
Yeah. Especially with that on your mind all the time, that'd be really, I wouldn't want to know. I know that.
Yeah. So I look at those things. I did have a reading one time where it was my grandfather was blocking me. And I was like, it was wild because I'm sitting there and the things that are coming out, sometimes I will use tools. Not every psychic or medium uses tools. I like to use the cards or totems, things like that, whatever comes out that helps to paint that picture for those people.
Like something more tangible for them.
Yeah,
visual.
It's more tangible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't need it. It just helps the person sitting in front of me. Oh, okay. And this particular reading, this person was sitting with me and they had experienced something really horrible in their life, and it was tied, the reading was tied to that. They had questions and they were trying to ask the questions. And I kept getting blocked. And I was like, why am I blocked? And I could see my grandfather physically like blocking. And I was like, why? And finally, my grandfather said, little one, you don't want to see this. And I have seen some horrific stuff in people's readings and in sessions, and something that I could always tell when I was little, sounds awful. And it used to freak some of my family out, was I always knew when there was a serial killer around or there was a pedophile around.
That's creepy.
Because the energy changes, the way they sound. When I was little, I couldn't really block people very much. My grandmothers did try to help me with that. I mean, they were like, you're peeking, don't do that. And it was like, I didn't want to peek. I didn't want to see.
No.
But when I would get near something or near, I could smell it. I could taste it on them. They just have a weird, it's so gross what emanates off of them. And then I could see what they were thinking.
Yeah.
I could see what they were watching. I could see all of a sudden, you shift from being at a pizza party with your friends to
something.
You're in a jungle-like atmosphere or a forest-like, and you can feel that like hungry predator.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was like, is it like a predator vibe? Like, kind of like.
Yeah, but it's like a desperate predator vibe. Like, I've sat in an enclosure with wolves and been welcomed into the pack, and even when I go to the zoo and you see predators at the zoo, like there's a sadness to them, but there isn't that.
Like,
when I sat with the wolves, or I've experienced mountain lions out in the wild and stuff, there isn't a desperation. there isn't a hunger like that. Humans have a very different vibe when they're emanating that. So that was definitely a part of my gift that I don't like. And in reading, sometimes, people would come in and I could always see, especially if I was working like a fair or convention or something, there would be times that I would just start asking, please don't bring someone like that my way.
Yeah, that, especially if you're just trying to go to, like, when you're doing a fair, you're trying to help people and, kind of have fun, You don't want something like that to just ruin your whole mood and your day or your night or whatever.
Yeah. It's definitely, when I go, sorry, I had a cousin just pass away early last weekend, last Saturday. So it's been busy around here, around me. Seems very empty in here, but it's not. It's not. So yeah, when I do fairs and conventions, those are usually for fun. Like, that's my fun time.
Yeah.
When I do more in-depth readings or like house clearings or stuff, that's very different. But I've had some readings where there's stuff that I didn't want to see.
No.
People, when they come to me, I stopped doing the hands-on healing a long time ago, and I'm actually being guided to start doing that again. And I'm resisting, so that's making a little spiritual friction happen. But something that, when people come to me and they've had childhood trauma or something like that, I see it. So it's almost like I go back in time and I'm reliving it with them.
Oh, okay.
And I feel and see everything. But I don't just feel and see everything from their perspective. I see it from whatever is harming them, whoever's the perpetrator, whoever's harming them. And so that is not always so fun.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah, it's not. I know everybody thinks that these would be really cool abilities to have, and I'm like,
no.
Some stuff's pretty cool, but some stuff I'm like,
yeah, it's like kind of like you get to help people at the same time. It's like you get to see some stuff that you never wanted to see or feel, probably. Yeah. I had friends I had a friend when I was younger who, her mom had moved her here because she grew up in Arizona and she had been kidnapped. Wow.
And the kidnapper preyed on children. She managed to get free, but he did keep her in a box for a period of time.
What the hell?
And when she moved here and started school with all of us, she was very withdrawn, as anyone would expect someone who has gone through that kind of terror to be. And one day she was having a hard time making friends. Her mom had moved her here because they were just trying to get away from all of that. Like, just leave it behind. Maybe if we change places and locations and take her out, that she'll be better. And she was somewhat better, but she still wasn't. And she and I became friends. And one day she sat down and she started, I could see what had happened.
Yeah.
Like, I was getting fragments. It wasn't as intense as it is now, or clear. but I was getting fragments. And I remember saying something to her like, how come I see you in a box? And she just like fell apart.
I bet.
Because nobody, people didn't believe her.
No.
And there was something about like mom's boyfriend, ex-boyfriend involved, something like that. So it was a really weird, messed up situation and messy for police to figure out. But yeah, I saw and felt, and she was like, oh my gosh, you can feel what I felt in the box. And I said, yeah, you were really scared. Like you couldn't breathe. You couldn't. And when she would try to tell other people, they were like, oh, you saw something on TV. And her mom wasn't going to confirm or deny anything because her mom was of the mindset that we moved from there, we left it behind. And until I showed up at her house one day and we were hanging out, we were going to go to the mall or something. And I looked at her mom and I said, how come you won't let her tell people that she was in a box? You know, you're not helping her. And her mom just broke down.
Yeah.
And was like, how do you know that? Did she tell you that? And I was like, no, I told her that first. And her mom was like, I've met people like you before. That's how we found her, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just know that she needs to be able to tell people her story.
Yeah, some way to like I know you'll never get past that, but at least some way to talk about it, like that helps.
Yeah, something. But yeah, and then after that, I think her mom decided they needed to move again. Because it's like anytime something got too real, then or someone knew, her mom just wanted to bury it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I see things that aren't so fun. I also see things that are really fun.
Give me a fun one since we went kind of dark.
I'll give you some lighter stuff. We got the heavy stuff. Let's get the lighter stuff. So a woman came to me for a reading and kind of started off on a sad note. She was worried because her daughter was pregnant. Her daughter had miscarried previously. She was worried that, with this pregnancy, because her daughter really wanted a baby. And so the cool thing is they got to see the baby that was miscarried.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Sitting with the baby that she was carrying now, that she was going to carry to term. And I could smell new baby smell. I could feel it. I could see different pathways that this baby was going to go, and how the miscarried baby was going to always kind of protect this one.
Yeah.
But that, yes, it was coming. And what was really cool was a couple weeks later, that client messaged me and she said, I'm flying out. My daughter's going into labor. It's happening. We've made it, super excited.
That's awesome.
So that's always one of those cool pieces. I had a woman who, they do kind of start off sad sometimes.
Yeah.
I had a woman who she had lost her husband and she just wanted to know if he was okay. And she wanted to know if his last moments of life were peaceful or what they were like. Yeah. And so he came through and he showed me what his last moments were. Yeah. And his last moment, his very last moment before his brain completely shut down, was remembering the day that she walked down the aisle to him.
That's nice.
And it was like the most beautiful, you know, and I could feel all of his like excitement and nervousness and all of the things. Plus, everybody in the room, everyone in the church, you know, and seeing her young, and that brought him peace and comfort, and he was okay.
Yeah.
So those are fun pieces for me. I love those.
Yeah.
I love those times.
That's a nice story. I like that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, yeah. She was like,
we go through,
yeah.
you get the whole spectrum. I've had pregnant women come to me, and it's funny because various versions of the baby, ages of the baby, show up after birth. So I can sometimes see as they're like toddlers and what they're getting into or what they need to kind of, okay, so here's what you need to baby proof because this one's going to really like to do this. And then they'll come back to me and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you told us to do that because you know what this one does and you know what. And so that's always cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, me and my lady are actually expecting soon too. So yeah, she's due on Mother's Day. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so we're
You have a lot. I'm like, you've got a lot going on then.
Yeah, I'm trying to juggle a bunch of stuff right now. A lot of stuff. But we're looking forward to it because I've always wanted kids. So I have step kids, so that I get that already. So that's awesome. But yeah, I've always wanted kids since a long time ago.
Since you were a little kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I got shown. Was like, you've been wanting to be a dad since you were little. That was just kind of your thing. Yeah,
I think so. I guess, yeah. That's kind of funny. Yeah. Yeah, I guess,
you have like this little, okay, so there's a younger version of you that I'm seeing. And they're showing me like this younger version of you. And he's kind of like this little teddy bear, but thinks he's bigger than he actually is. And he's trying to like dad everybody. You know how there's the friend in the group who's momming everybody?
Yeah.
You're like dadding everybody.
That's funny. That's funny because I grew up with mostly like female cousins and stuff like that. So I was like the only boy. So every time we would play like house or anything, it would always make me the dad. It's funny. Because I was the only boy like in our whole age group in my family on that side. Yeah.
Yeah. All of my so biologically, I'm the only child. I'm the firstborn great-granddaughter, the firstborn. So I'm the firstborn great-grandchild, firstborn grandchild. I'm the only biological girl on both sides.
That's fun.
Like all of my sisters and brothers are all step siblings or I'm the only biological one.
We have something in common then. Yeah, because
I get it.
Yeah, I'm the only child. You know, my parents, and then I was the first grandchild on both sides of the family, and then I think I was the only grandchild for like years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's funny.
I know that feeling. And then the cousins that came after me that were biological were all boys.
Oh yeah.
Like they were all boys.
Yeah.
So I was that like very protective. And then my grandfather's side of the family is Native. And so being a firstborn is even a bigger deal. And he would always tell me, you know, there's a lot to being a firstborn and then there's not so much to being a firstborn.
No.
Because he was one. And he's like, you know, you have a lot of responsibility. And someday everything falls your way because you're the first.
Yeah.
So like, oh, That was a lot of pressure as a kid.
Yeah, I know.
Like that.
Yeah. Like it did give me a lot of independence, I guess. Like that's the only thing I liked that I got from it was because I didn't, have like a brother or sister or like really close, like of the same age cousins and stuff like that. So like I think that's why I do a lot of stuff by myself. Like, and I'm fine with that. Like I don't know. A lot of people find it weird when you're like, oh, I'm okay going to restaurants by myself and stuff like that,
Yeah, it's weird because I have a lot of step siblings and adopted siblings, and and they all are at various age ranges. Like in one family set, I was the middle child, and another one I was the baby. And another one I was the eldest at one point. So it always is changing.
No.
But yeah, it's so funny because as a kid, I liked doing stuff on my own.
Mm-hmm.
And then I don't know, when I started dating as a teenager, I always had some kind of relationship, something up until a few years ago.
Yeah.
And first time I went Christmas shopping, I realized, oh, wow, this is the first time in my life that I've ever gone Christmas shopping by myself. And it was like, I'm out at the mall at, 44, 45. I'm at the mall shopping, and it's like, oh, I like this. Wait a minute. I remember being independent like this as a kid and just doing my own thing.
No.
I don't have anybody around to tell me you're taking too long. This is going to, let's go over here. No friends, no nothing, no sisters, no cousins, no, just me. And I was like, oh yeah, I miss this.
Yeah. For me, it was when me and my lady started dating, it was hard for me to not do stuff together, but like she was like, well, let me help you. I'm like, for me it was weird because I was so used to doing stuff myself, so I was like, help, like that's strange. And like she would get kind of like mad at me, like, why don't you just let me in, like let me help, or something like that. It was really hard for me to adjust, and then living together was like a whole different thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was just like, because I'm so used to being alone, and then now I'm living with her and then the two kids, and it's just like it took me a while to get used to, because sometimes I was like, I'd stay up late at night because that was the only time I would have like alone time to like work on stuff and just be alone. But I'm getting more used to it.
I'm going to give you a little tip. Pay attention to what her nap cycle is during her pregnancy or when the baby's not as active. And that will tell you the baby's natural sleep cycle.
Okay.
And feeding cycle. So that, when the baby's born and you're up late at night, you're already prepared.
Yeah.
You already know, okay, little one's kind of in my space while I'm doing this. Yeah. Okay, I can adjust but yeah, pay attention to that. My nieces always thought it was funny when I would tell them that.
Yeah.
And I was like, if I had paid attention to that with my own kids, oh my gosh, life would have been so much easier.
Yeah, she's like napping all the time now. Yeah. She's always tired. Yeah. She's only got a few months left, so.
Yeah, I'm like, any time now.
Yeah.
There's your kid's funny. Your kid's super funny. Like, not so this is something that happens. I don't peek or remote view, but if a spirit or soul comes to me and they're like, hey, let me show you this.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can show you. And since we're having this conversation and I've already met you, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you what's coming.
All right.
On this side. I can't see like everything.
Yeah.
But this little one's funny. Like they got a whole personality going on.
That's funny.
You got to do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So back to our interview. I know you were trying to you were telling us about Kyle, that he might have like an extra like ability or something about him. Yeah. So after that, he started like noticing like little things like here and there. So it was kind of funny. He was kind of freaked out, honestly, after he told him that.
I figured he would be,
Yeah.
but I'd rather tell it. Tell him. And because the things that he was going to start seeing and happening going to be getting amplified anyways. So it's better to know and kind of have an idea and be freaked out, right?
Yeah.
And like, oh God, what does that mean? What do I, and seeing these things and going, oh, okay, is that part of the gift, or am I, what is that? Then I need to go to the doctor because I have to be hallucinating. I have to be going crazy. I have to be, because once you get in that mindset, then you really do kind of drive yourself crazy.
Okay. Yeah. We did an investigation a little after that, and he was like really trying to mess with it a little bit. And I was too. I was trying to see like if I had anything, but there was one point in the investigation where I was visualizing a woman in the building, and I thought I'm just scared of making something up. And I kept telling Kyle, I was like, I could have sworn there's a lady in the back of the room in like a white shirt and black hair, and she keeps watching us. And he was like, I don't know, let's just keep walking around. And I kept feeling that same presence, and I was like, I'm just freaking myself out. And then Kyle gets into the Estes method, so he doesn't know what I'm asking. He has earphones on, and I'm the one asking questions. Like, am I seeing someone like this? And then, sure enough, someone comes through, like, yeah, what, you can see me? I was like, I think so. And then it kept getting closer, and I was telling her to like touch some of the stuff that we had on, like the REM pod, and she would do it on command and stuff like that. And so that was just like a little bit. I was like, I still think I'm making it up in my head. And so I was like, let's switch. I put the blindfold on, so I'm just picturing the room in my head, and I see that lady again, and I'm like, it's just in my head. It's just in my head. And then it's weird because I don't see it like moving. Like it's almost like someone's taking pictures. And I see her getting closer and closer, and then she's in my face, and I get scared. She's like an older woman. Scares the crap out of me, because earlier she was like, oh, you can see me, like kind of like being like an ego kind of. So I just take off the helmet, the blindfold thing, and I'm like, I don't know, I just saw like an old ugly lady. And
yeah.
And then I think that made her mad, because I kept telling, because we had another ghost hunting group with us, some other investigators that lived in town. And I told him about that, and I was like this ugly lady with black hair, and she was wearing white, and then they were like, well, I was like, you guys go check out there, but they were too afraid to do it, so they waited till we got back over there. And she got in, the woman that was with us, she got in Estes method. And she was telling me, she was all, fuck you, Joe, I'm a pretty lady, and stuff like that. Yeah. So I guess I did see her, I don't know, because she was mad at me. She was telling us off, and she was like, I'm not ugly, and all this stuff. And she said she hated what they were doing with the building and stuff like that. And then Kyle was trying to agitate her, and she actually did end up scratching him, because he was telling him like, oh, like, come on, like, where you at, calling her like a bitch and all this stuff. And I was like, and I was just like, well, I was just trying to talk to her, but then she came to the Estes method, and she was like, oh, like, I'm gonna show you how strong I am. And then I guess that's when because he didn't notice it until he got home, and his whole back was just like clawed up. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so that was surprising that I kind of visualized something that made sense with whatever that we're talking to. I don't know, that was pretty weird.
Yeah, that's that's a psychic ability. You're seeing it.
Yeah,
so,
I kept seeing her the whole night. Like, I could feel her behind me, and it's almost like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like I can like that. Mostly that night, it was like because I don't like doing that here, but it's almost like a pulse, and then I can kind of figure out where someone's in the building or something. And it's yeah, it's like I don't know how to describe it, but like I can kind of see them get closer, or I can tell when they're here. Sometimes I don't know if I'm just imagining it, but I don't know because I felt like she followed me home that night, that next night too.
Nope. Oh yeah, so you guys really need to be careful with that. Didn't I tell you guys to be careful?
Yeah.
Didn't I tell you not to take things home with you?
Yeah. I think I just pissed her off, and she she was here because I did that same thing, and she was behind me while I was on the computer, and I had to tell her to like leave, and this used all the sage and all the stuff that we had here, and I just kind of like cornered her and got her out the door. I was like, just go back to the Elks building.
Ooh, the Elks building locally?
It's in Globe, Arizona.
Oh, the one in Globe. Oh, that explains it.
Yeah, it's like built in 1910. Yeah, I don't know if you can see the picture right here. But that's the building.
Yeah.
I have a brick.
Yeah.
I have a brick from there too, so I don't from where the morgue was in the basement. Yeah, that probably.
Oh. Okay. We all have things. Like, I don't know if you want things from there.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing. Like, that it's not the worst thing because there was fun had there. So.
Yeah, they had a lot of parties there. Yeah. It was like almost like a social club kind of.
Yeah.
Because that's how the Elks members used to make money by having the bar there and stuff.
Yeah. My my father and my uncle and my grandfather were Elks.
Oh,
Lodge
wow.
members.
That's cool.
And then my great-great-grandfather was my great-grandfather and my great-great-grandfather. So yeah. They were Freemasons.
Okay. Yeah, they're kind of like in the same circles. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all of those fraternities all like to Moose Lodge, Elks Lodge. Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the Elks spirits wouldn't really talk to us that much. They kept telling us to like get out and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they like to keep their stuff to themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because we went there before, and I felt like there was something we're missing the last time. Because we didn't get too much, and I was like, I think there's something else there that we just didn't know. And so I called and contacted whoever runs it, Molly, and then we rebooked it over there. And then Kyle's never been there, so I was like, let's go. And then that's when all that stuff happened. Those other investigators are with us. They're like, what the? Like, you guys can see that? Like. Yeah, they're like, you guys are like the most legit hunters we've ever been with. And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I don't know if we're really seeing stuff or not.
Yes, you are. But we've had that discussion. I'm like, you guys. Yeah.
So before we wrap it up, is there any like events you got going on coming up?
So the big one would be and I just got asked, so this sounds so bad. But there is the true crime convention that's going to be going on at Isleta.
Oh wow, okay.
On March 15th.
All right.
And I will be out there in the healing room. Hopefully, just helping people with cold case readings. So that will be a big day. Yeah. That'll be pretty intense, but also, part of once you accept that you have these abilities and gifts, part of the responsibility of that is, okay, how do I help?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How do I make things better? And so even if it's just one person that is like, oh, okay, that's what I needed, or that's helps them move forward, then yeah, it's worth it. Yeah. So that's the big thing that's going on right now. And then I'll be few months down the road, I'll be at Brewha Fest.
Okay. I gotta go check that out. I
Um,
haven't checked that out yet.
yeah, it'll be the third one.
Yeah.
So the in October. Um, and in between now and then, I'm sure there's going to be little events. There's something coming up, I believe, at the B Roop. Let me look that up real quick.
Okay. Yeah.
I take that back. There is something coming up. Hold on. Like someone just messaged me the other day, and I was like, "Oh yeah."
And then, where can people follow you on? What's your Instagram, Facebook, website?
Instagram is, you know what? I'm bad about it. So, okay, so that event is going to be the spring event at the B Rupee
Okay.
here in town on the 29th of March.
All right.
And then follow me. They can follow me on Instagram at Nikki S505 Psychic Medium.
All right.
And then Connected Compass as well. That's my company, my business.
Okay.
Where
Yeah.
I offer all kinds of spiritual services, everything from weddings, that's
Yeah.
something I love to do.
Awesome.
That was a really cool thing I did at the beginning of the year. I did a wedding and a cat showed up
Oh wow. Okay.
in the middle of the wedding and like really just blessed the wedding. It was the coolest thing. To clearing houses, providing spiritual guidance to people, helping people with their abilities and gifts, figuring them out. Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Yeah.
Cool.
And all her links are going to be in the description, so you guys can get in contact with her. But yeah, I think we're gonna have you on the show again soon, hopefully.
Yeah. I'm like, whenever. I love
Yeah.
you guys, so sure.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we love you too. Like it's like we said, we never worked with someone like you, so it's really fun. It's learning all this stuff. Like there's more stuff that you talked about that now you may have more questions for me in the future.
I'm like, go ahead, ask away, and next time hopefully I'll get I'll bring some of my friends with me, and
Yeah.
you can see the difference.
Okay.
Maybe you can demonstrate a little bit how
Yeah.
abilities vary and are different between mediums and psychics and psychic mediums and psychic channels and
Yes.
shamanic workers and yeah.
Yeah. So most of that I have no idea. So
Oh yeah.
it'd be fun to learn about all that stuff.
Well, and all of that stuff, when you are doing like what you guys do, when you go into spaces, it's cool to have a psychic medium, but sometimes you need somebody there who might need to be a shamanic healer to shut something down
Oh, okay.
right away.
Yeah.
Or a psychic channel because there's something there that I'm like, what can't I do? There are things that I know I can't do that my friend can do.
Yeah.
That it's like, oh, you need her to do that part.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, because we always wanted someone like at least someone we can have like on the show, like when we do ghost hunting and stuff. So maybe like guide us and tell us like stuff that maybe we should do and shouldn't do.
Yeah, like let's not tell her she's ugly anymore.
Yeah, I know.
Even though
I know.
they're pretty. So here's the thing I will say. Unless you're there to do spiritual combat or battle with something, which I never recommend to anybody. But unless you're going in with that intention, then you never want to sit there and provoke.
Yeah.
Like you want to keep it as respectful as possible. Even if, so for you, because you do see things, like if you see some dude running through the space and he's chasing a woman and he's, and you see that on a loop, don't interfere with the loop. You
Okay.
can't interfere with the loop.
Yeah.
Just, there's nothing you can do to change that. And as humans, that's something that we want to do, right? Like, we want to jump in, we want to help, we want to
Yeah.
save, we want to stop it because we think that's going to end it and then they'll be able to move on. Well, no, sometimes what happens is one of those attaches to you and comes at you.
Yeah.
So unless you're fully aware of what's going on in that situation, it's just best to be an observer. See if, there's someone that needs to communicate. I'm not surprised that you get kids because kids really do. They don't, especially if they're generations past.
No.
Little kids didn't have a voice.
No.
So all of a sudden, you have a spirit box there that they can talk to. They love it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right, I think that wraps up our little. That was fun. I had a lot of fun time.
Well, good.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
I'm
Hopefully
glad.
we can have you back on the show, and maybe even some of the paranormal stuff, the ghost hunting stuff that we talked about doing some places and stuff like that. So that'd be fun.
Yeah.
So you guys will see her again.
Down. I'm down.
All right.
I keep you guys from provoking something. That'd be good.
I know I shouldn't have said the ugly thing because that pissed her off. I didn't mean it was like instinctual because I just got scared.
Yeah, you get scared. And so then, when you say that, it's like, so something that you can do in those instances is go, oh, you know what? You just scared me.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to describe everything that I was seeing. Like,
Yeah.
my human is interpreting, you probably didn't look like this.
Yeah.
And then you can totally take it to another level. So what did you look like?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And see what comes through. Like, start asking a little bit more. So what did to try and diffuse that?
Yeah. What's funny is that there's other people that we talked to that live there and they've seen that same lady in white. They always say she's wearing white or something. So I think that's the same lady I was thinking about because they said that she ran something in town or something like that, and then I was like, she's like going there or something like that. I can't really remember, but
Ooh, there's a whole situation there.
yeah.
Oh, I can see it. Oh, the intrigue and drama of it all. And a man did tell her in the past that she was ugly.
Oh, okay, that makes sense then. That's why that pissed her off.
Yeah, because the ugly fed the unworthy,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Something happened somewhere with somebody. And a lot of times, if they're really pissed off, just going to tell you, there's a love situation involved.
That's funny, yeah. It's like the one that at the Vibes 505, that was like a whole thing with that,
How did she go? Well,
Her name was Sarah, that's what we found out.
oh,
Hopefully, I don't know if that's real accurate, but yeah, she was trying to come into the store when we were doing our Ouija board session. Because we had a Ouija board session going, then we had Kyle and blindfolded and with the headphones on in the spirit box, and it was making sense with the Ouija board. He was doing the same answers, but at some point she came over and was like, "Let me in. I want to be in here." I was like, "No, that they said that you're not allowed in here. Also, it's only a positive area." And then she was like, she said that, I don't know, she just kept saying, let me in. I was like, no. And then she was like, well, I can see you. And it's like creepy stuff. It's pretty creepy. And the other guy, I think we're talking to the guy that had smoked something with the cigarettes or something, and he was telling us that she collects children and stuff like that. That's what he was saying, yeah. And that's what she does, yeah.
yeah, she was trying to go home with you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah, we kept getting pains in our shoulders and stuff like that all night, like all three of us, I think. Yeah. But yeah, that was a whole weird situation. Yeah, she was like really trying to like come into the building, and we're just like, nope, we don't own the building. We're not allowed to tell who can come in and who can leave.
Yeah, she's something. She is. Yeah. Woo! So glad I don't deal with that one. Nope. Mm-mm. And it's sad. Like, some of them are really sad to me. you know, you go to parks and stuff, and I can feel people there or energies, and I'm like, oh, you were left alone here or something, or you're in pain. Like that's why you're lashing out.
Yeah.
Or this was your energy before, and still that's still sad. Like
Yeah.
it's rare that I encounter something that is truly like evil or yeah. There's always a bigger story.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I feel like some of the spirits like try to play that part just so you back off sometimes. Yeah.
Some of them do. Some of them are like, we just need you to leave our stuff alone. It's kind of like Scooby. And then they do like, so it's funny. My gift will legit like shift over to like this Scooby-Doo filter.
That's funny.
And then I start laughing, and I have to stop laughing because they really do want to be taken seriously.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like, but I'm like, okay, you've made it comical now. Like,
Okay.
but then, yeah.
All right. Like, well, we're gonna go on and on.
Yeah, we can go on forever. So we're gonna go.
Yeah. All right. But thanks for being on the Let's Get Paranormal podcast, and we'll have you again soon, and we can continue our conversation and everything. But thank you for being on the show. It was awesome.
Well, thank you for having me.
All right. All right. Well, see you guys. See you next time. Thank you. Bye.